Greetings, this is my movie review for War for the Planet of the Apes. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to reveal plot-wise, but spoiler alert, and spoiler alert. You've been warned, now I can say anything, right? So this afternoon, I went to a very quiet theater and watched the movie. This is, as many of you know, the third in a series, and I recall liking the first one and I recall liking the second one, and I think I've watched them both twice. My overall feeling about this last one is meh. Maybe because they, spoiler alert, had to get the story to a certain point, and that certain point was to allow the ending of the third movie to kind of line up where the beginning of the original Planet of the Apes started. If you know what I mean. Maybe you don't even know there was an original Planet of the Apes way back when. So there's a lot of content in this movie that just doesn't forward the story, in my opinion. Scenes where you've already figured out there's a relationship between the characters and they're showing you the relationship. They want to make sure you got it. It's like, yeah, moving on. I mean, the storyline is essentially Caesar's trying to keep the apes protected from the humans who are still persecuting them or trying to eradicate them or whatever the story is. And we have natural born killer whose name escapes me. What's the actor's name? Crap. Anyway, he's got it in for the apes. What is that guy's name? This is kind of embarrassing. And he's been in so many movies. Zombieland, for example. And anyway, maybe it'll come to me. So he is relentless, this guy, this character. Is he Colonel? Whatever. Woody Harrelson. Whatever his character is, a general or whatever. Relentlessly pursuing the apes. And that's the conflict. Caesar versus Woody Harrelson's character. And there's so many things in this movie that just don't really belong, in my opinion. And there's some... It's sappy. I think it's sappy in a way that it didn't need to be, because the sappiness doesn't propel the story. It's a revenge story. It's because Caesar's avenging people in his family that have been killed by Woody Harrelson's character, and personally killed by him. And for me, it slows down the movie, and I'm all about, if it doesn't need to be there, it shouldn't be there. There are some cool things that go on from time to time. There's a little comedic relief that shows up here and there that works. Little kind of like throwback memorabilia kind of stuff. Like a part of a car, like a nameplate sort of for a make model car that shows up. There's also an ape that's basically somehow survived from the time things went wild. He was in a zoo and he managed to stay alive, and he's not been with all the other apes. He's been kind of on his own. And that character, he's a good comedic relief kind of character. A good job there. And that's fine. I don't mind that. But there's other things in the movie that just don't really work for me, in the sense that they don't fit to me. They don't seem to fit. I mean, working out, making sure that we're aware that there's some kind of a emotional tie between two characters, when I think it's just plain obvious, or what happens later would make it obvious if you hadn't figured it out. You don't need to linger on something. And sometimes the lingering takes place in the wrong setting. Like, there's other things that they could be showing us that would be building on what's happening, but instead they linger far too long on, just in case you're not sure, these two people are bonding. And in case you haven't figured it out, we're going to keep showing you these two people bonding, or these two characters bonding, even though there's something else going on at the same time you'd probably rather be checking in on and seeing. Like, we could be developing more on the background of the conflict or what's about to happen, but no, we're going to show you again, these two characters are bonding, and we need you to know that these two characters are bonding because later on we're going to leverage that. But we could have figured it out. So overall, I think if you like the first two movies, you're going to find this one less enjoyable, unless you like sappy crap thrown into the middle of your movie. It's a movie about a war between man and apes, and the apes are kind of reluctant to be in it, but they end up in it because men won't leave them alone, and there are some nice twists and turns, some interesting how they get to the ending they want to get to. I kind of like that, but the plot line just feels forced. In certain places, it just feels forced. So I don't think, if you're a big fan of the original two, you're going to like this one as much. That's just my opinion. But you might want to wait until it comes out on Netflix or some other place. You might not need to see it in a theater, although there are some things that look probably pretty cool on the big screen. But don't get your hopes up. Go into it expecting to be underwhelmed. And that's my review. And if you disagree after you see it, feel free to let me know. That is all. Click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Thank you very much.